You've got a 50-page report sitting in your inbox. Your boss needs you to understand it by Monday. You've opened it 3 times and gotten exactly nowhere. What if you could just listen to 2 people explain the whole thing while you walk your dog? That's exactly what Google's NotebookLM now offers. I'm going to show you how this works, when it's genuinely useful, and when you should probably just read the document yourself. Here's the thing that caught everyone off guard. This feature was supposed to be a nice-to-have addition. Instead, it went completely viral. People started uploading everything. Academic papers, legal contracts, company earnings reports, even textbooks their kids were supposed to be reading. And the weird part? The AI-generated discussions actually sound like 2 people who genuinely find the material interesting. They banter, they make jokes. So let's talk about whether this is actually useful or just a really impressive party trick. NotebookLM started life as something pretty boring. It was a research assistant. You'd upload documents, and it would help you summarize them and answer questions. Then Google added this audio overview feature. 1 button, click it, and 2 AI voices start discussing your documents like they're hosting a podcast together. The original format was what they called a deep dive. 2 hosts going back and forth, explaining concepts, asking each other questions, building on ideas. But here's why it worked when other text-to-speech tools feel robotic. The hosts don't just read your document. They discuss it. They react to it. One host might say something like, "Wait, that number seems really high." And the other responds, "Actually, when you compare it to last year, it makes sense." That conversational format does something powerful. It mimics how you might discuss a document with a colleague who's already read it. And because humans naturally learn well from dialogue, the information sticks better than if you just read a summary or listen to a monotone voice. The timing was perfect too. People were already used to consuming information through podcasts during commutes, workouts, and household chores. NotebookLM just gave them a way to add their own documents to that audio queue. That quarterly report becomes something you listen to while grocery shopping. According to Google, the audio overview feature can transform documents into engaging audio discussions with just 1 click. 2 AI hosts start a discussion based entirely on your uploaded sources. The hosts summarize material, make connections between different topics in your documents, and add natural banter that makes it feel less like a reading and more like a conversation. This wasn't just a minor update. The feature went genuinely viral. Users started converting everything from academic textbooks to dense legal documents into audio they could consume passively. By early 2026, Google upgraded the platform to their Gemini 3 architecture. This brought what they call agentic research capabilities to the tool. The new system can identify gaps in your research and deploy deep research agents to find additional information. It's not just summarizing anymore. It's actively helping you research. But here's where it gets really interesting. The deep dive audio feature evolved from a static output to something interactive. You can now join the podcast in real time. According to industry analysis, users can interrupt the AI host to ask for clarification or steer the conversation toward specific subtopics they want to explore deeper. So if the hosts are discussing a financial report and mention something about cash flow that you don't understand, you can just ask them to explain it more. They'll pause their planned discussion and address your question, then continue from where they left off. It's like having 2 patient colleagues who never get annoyed when you ask for help. Google also expanded language support significantly. Audio overviews now work in more than 50 languages, from Afrikaans to Hindi to Turkish, thanks to Gemini's native audio capabilities. This is genuinely important for global teams. You can upload a document in English and generate a discussion in Spanish for your colleagues in Madrid, or upload a research paper in Mandarin and have it explained in French. The language barrier for document comprehension just got a lot lower. The feature currently offers 4 different formats. Deep Dive gives you the full podcast experience. Brief is a shorter summary version for when you're in a hurry. Critique format is designed for documents you need to evaluate rather than just understand. It's more analytical, pointing out potential weaknesses and things to consider. Debate format presents multiple perspectives on the material. The 2 hosts take opposing viewpoints and argue different interpretations. Great for seeing all sides of an issue. Google is also testing a new lecture format, according to recent reports. This uses a single host and can run up to 30 minutes. more like an audiobook than a conversation. That longer format makes sense for textbooks or technical documentation where you want comprehensive coverage rather than a quick overview. Now, I've been pretty positive so far. But let's talk about the limitations, because there are real ones you should know about. Critics argue that this feature encourages surface-level understanding of complex topics. You get the gist, but you miss the nuances that actually matter. There's a real concern here. If you're a lawyer reviewing a contract or a doctor reading a medical study, the summary might sound confident about things that require careful reading. The AI hosts occasionally misrepresent document contents or add confident-sounding commentary that isn't actually supported by the source material. They can fill gaps with assumptions. Some educators worry that students will use this to avoid actually reading assigned materials. Listen to the 10-minute podcast version instead of reading the chapter. And honestly, that concern is valid. Understanding built from reading deeply is different from understanding built from listening to a summary. But here's my counterargument. For many professional documents, you don't need deep understanding. You need enough understanding to know whether the document requires your deep attention. Think of it as a first pass. The audio tells you what's in the document and helps you decide if it's worth an hour of your focused reading time. So here's how I'd recommend actually using this tool. Start with documents that have been sitting unread because they're too long or too dense for your available time. That 50-page industry report your colleague sent last month? Upload it to NotebookLM and generate an audio overview. Listen while you commute tomorrow. Try the critique format specifically for documents you need to evaluate rather than just understand. It'll point out potential issues and things to investigate further. The interactive feature is genuinely useful. When the hosts mention something you want explained more, interrupt and ask. They'll clarify, then continue their discussion. But don't skip the original document for anything you'll actually act on professionally. Use the audio to understand the landscape, then read the sections that matter most. For team settings, this is surprisingly powerful. Have one person listen to the audio overview and brief everyone else on whether the full document deserves a team read. The language feature opens up real possibilities. If you work with international teams, you can now share document understanding across language barriers much more easily. There are some practical limitations to know about. You'll need a Google account, and the free tier has usage limits on how many audio overviews you can generate monthly. File size matters too. Very long documents might get summarized more aggressively, meaning you lose some of the detail from the middle sections. The audio quality itself is impressive, though. Google's Gemini generates voices that sound remarkably natural, with appropriate pacing and emphasis that makes listening comfortable. You can also create notebooks that combine multiple documents. Upload 5 related papers and generate one discussion that synthesizes all of them together. That synthesis capability is where this gets genuinely powerful for research. Instead of reading 5 papers, you get 2 hosts comparing and contrasting findings across all of them. For students, I'd recommend using this as a supplement rather than a replacement. Listen to the overview first to get oriented, then do your actual reading with that context. The feature also works well for accessibility purposes. People who struggle with dense text for any reason now have another way to access that information. If you manage a team, consider standardizing on this for certain document types. Weekly industry reports could become podcast episodes your whole team listens to during their commutes. The competitive landscape here is interesting. NotebookLM is free to use with a Google account, which gives it a major advantage over paid alternatives. Other tools are trying to replicate this, but Google's head start on AI voice quality and their Gemini integration gives them a significant technical advantage. The integration with Google's broader ecosystem matters too. If your documents are already in Google Drive, the workflow to generate an audio discussion is essentially seamless. Privacy considerations are worth thinking about. Your documents get processed through Google's systems to generate the audio, which matters for sensitive business documents. For truly sensitive material, you might want to stick with manual reading. The convenience isn't worth the potential exposure for confidential legal or financial documents. But for the vast majority of professional documents, industry reports, research papers, public filings, this is a genuinely useful new way to consume information. Here's your homework. This week, find that one document you've been avoiding because it's too long. Upload it to NotebookLM and generate an audio overview. Listen to it during an activity where you'd otherwise just be scrolling your phone. Your commute, your workout, doing dishes. That dead time becomes learning time. Then ask yourself, did you understand the document well enough to talk about it? If yes, you just saved yourself an hour. If no, at least you know what sections to actually read. NotebookLM's audio overview started as a gimmick and became something genuinely useful. It won't replace reading, but it will help you decide what deserves your reading time. And in a world where we're all drowning in documents, that's a tool worth having. Go try it. Your inbox will thank you. That's it for today. Subscribe for more AI tools that actually work, and I'll see you next time.